Welcome into Gun Talk Hunt. Today's Gun Talk Hunt is brought to you by Pyramyd Air. For all your air gun needs, visit pyramydair.com, and that's with 2 Y's. All right, today we do some really interesting things around here at Gun Talk Hunt, and usually it's kind of off the wall. It's never the ordinary. We'll go on the whitetail hunts, the coyote hunts, normal stuff like that. But every once in a while, we get into some wild stuff. And today I'm talking with Ryan Gresham on a little hunt we did the first year I was with Gun Talk Media, and it's an iguana hunt.
Yeah. So like you said, there are a lot of people doing great content hunting whitetails from deer stands, and that's cool and fun. But we kind of figure there's enough people doing that. Maybe we could come up with some different stuff.
And I don't know where I saw this, but I came in with the idea of, Puerto Rico they are an invasive species. There are roughly 6.5 million of them on an island.
Right.
So the population estimated in North America for wild pigs is roughly 6.5 million over the United States.
Right.
So these are all on one little island.
Yeah, we started looking into it because the idea was we were looking for something interesting to do with an air gun hunt. And actually we happened to be working with Pyramyd Air at the time on this thing. And because they've got these pre-charged pneumatic air guns, which we'll get into more in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
But we're like, what would be interesting? You can hunt iguana. I'm like, really?
Yeah. We were both, I had seen it done, but I was like, well, I don't know who to go with. I don't know where to go. I don't know what the firearms regulations, like how do we get these pre-charged pneumatic air rifles into Puerto Rico?
Right.
And as we're starting to figure this out, we reach out to Iguana Hunters PR, Iguana Hunters Puerto Rico on
boy,
Facebook. Abner Alemanes.
Yeah.
On Facebook, and you guys can look him up, and he is happy to take you anytime. The man hunts iguanas.
So we figure out, okay, we're going to do this thing.
Yeah.
Pyramyd Air sends us the gear. They send us, I think one of them was a Galahad.
Yes.
And I can't remember what the other one was.
I can't remember the other one, but they were a 22 caliber.
And was one a 25?
One was a 25.
25 caliber.
That was awesome.
So pre-charged pneumatic, talk about the gear for a second here.
Yeah.
It's basically a high pressure tank. It's like 3,000 PSI. It's like a scuba tank attached to the gun.
Yeah.
So now you can shoot bigger pellets going faster, and it's also it's more consistent, I think, more accurate.
Right. And that's what we were. And so we got the tanks filled because you can't fly with that stuff over there. So we had to fill it while we were in Puerto Rico, but we needed to kind of get them dialed in here. And so we spent a little time, in the backyards and on the ranges with them, and they were really consistent. And that was actually really cool to see, is what you can actually do with these air guns. But iguanas wasn't necessarily on the table of stuff, bucket list items, but knowing what I know now, I would probably put it right there.
It's a pretty amazing hunt. So, and just a side note for you, when you're talking about the accuracy in the Olympics, shooting in general, is the 3rd largest sport in the Olympics. Obviously there are several air gun events, air gun, pistol, air gun, rifle. The air guns are the most accurate.
Oh yeah.
By far. You were like, wait, what? Like they have all these other high-tech on-shoots rimfires. Mm-hmm. Those are great. But the air guns have to be measured with like special devices to figure out, because basically they're making one hole.
So I guess one of my questions for you, Ryan, is and for our listeners, so you've got this air tank and you're going through these shots. So how is it maintaining so much consistency, but air is escaping that tank?
Right. Well, I mean, it's the same, it's measured, right? It's the same amount of air each time, and you get a certain number of shots depending on how big the tank is, and you can bring little extra tanks to refill and kind of reload. But the pre-charged pneumatics, and now we were using 22 caliber and a 25 caliber because these are Iguana, but they have them for 40 caliber, 357, 50 cal.
some big bore guns.
They kill big game with this stuff. What's the craziest part, I know I've probably talked about this before, but the first time I ever shot a pre-charged pneumatic air gun was at a big media range day, and they're explaining the whole thing. They're like, yeah, we worked with Nosler to develop the bullet.
What?
It's a 357 bullet from Nosler, and it's whatever it was. I can't remember what the weight on it was, but it's, it's 100 grains or whatever it was. It's going, 1,100 feet per second, and it has this much energy, and you're going, wow, from an air gun. Okay. And you get on it, and you're like set up. You're like, that target down there, yeah, 50 yards, just, okay, through the scope, and you go, ding. You go,
no felt recoil?
What was that? Nothing happened. It was like,
but this target falls down,
right,
it's boom.
Yeah, it's like, ding. You're like, I could kill a deer with that? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, you could.
What was your effective range? What do they say the effective range on that is?
It depends on what you're going to shoot with it. I think if you're going to shoot a whitetail with something like that, it's inside of 100 yards, maybe even within 50 to 70 yards, because you are going to lose the foot-pounds of energy.
Your energy is running out as you're headed downrange.
Absolutely, big time. And I did hit an iguana at, I want to say 90 yards, but that was after, it was like on the second day. We had shot a lot. We were kind of messing around a little bit.
We were just testing this now.
Yeah.
Like we went, and that's a whole nother story, because we set up, and so we were filming for our show Gun Venture, which we don't do anymore. That's probably one of my favorite shows that we don't do anymore.
Yeah, I know.
But it's
a good show.
It's a great show. It's a great concept, but we had to film like going into a break, and we're like, okay, Ryan, you see this iguana over here? Okay, I want you to shoot it and then close it out. You remember this now. Yes, I want Abner to close it out in his native language.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, if Ryan didn't hit this iguana, and that iguana wasn't 90 yards, that iguana was at like 65 yards.
It was still
it was a long
air gun.
shot.
Yeah. He drops out of the tree.
He drops out of the tree, and we're all celebrating, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're still filming.
I forgot. We turned the camera to Abner, and he does this thing in Espanol, and it was awesome. It was perfect.
It couldn't have gone any better. But I think that goes to show just the fluidity of the air gun and how accurate it really is. Because on an iguana, remember, Abner told us, look, it's a spot behind the eye.
Right.
Which is less than the size of a dime.
That's correct. I mean, so if you go, well, okay, so what's involved in hunting iguana?
Yes.
I kind of think it's kind of like squirrel hunting. You walk around the woods or the jungle, and you look up in trees. And what would happen, and you tell me this is right, we'd look up into a tree and we go, ooh, look, an iguana. And what would Abner say?
Oh, look, there's 20 iguana.
He's like, there are 20 in that tree. Look, that one.
And that's what's amazing about it. And I think it needs to be noted that, yes, we would go up to a tree and we would sit on a tree for an hour, maybe more, shooting at in one tree at all these iguanas.
Right.
And so the problem with iguanas are they burrow. And so they're causing a lot of damage to the infrastructure of Puerto Rico. And so they have to do extra like maintenance of roads because they're burrowing under these roads. And
runways at airports.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a ginormous problem they are dealing with. And so they want you to come hunt.
Right. So that's the fun part. So there's not a limit on them.
No limit.
The two of us in 2 days probably shot about 100 iguana.
Yeah. And we were filming. And so when you're filming, it's like, okay, we got to get the camera over here. We got to get it set up. Okay, which iguana are you looking at? So it's longer. So if you were over there just lay waste to iguanas, you could get way more than that.
Yes. And it's hard to make a dent because you said there's millions on the island, millions. They not only do they burrow, they swim.
Yes.
They climb up in trees and are very hidden and camouflaged. I don't think they have any predators there.
No.
And so going back to these iguana are up to about 6 feet long with the tail to the head, tip of the tail to the head. 6 feet long.
It's like the size of your normal KJ.
but you're right. And their head is, I don't know, I mean, less than the size of your fist.
Yeah.
But it's right behind the eye that you have to hit them. And if you don't hit them right in that spot, they do not fall out of the tree.
No. Even with the 25 caliber pre-charged pneumatic. And that's what was amazing about this. And what they will do, and you're making a precise shot. I mean, you're aiming for the dime size spot behind their eye, but what's happening is they will blade themselves on the tree. So on a tree limb, you would see them do this. They will go to the other side of the tree where you can barely see their eye because they're keeping an eye on you.
Just like squirrels.
Yes.
The squirrels will go to the other side of the tree, but when you can see their eye, you're like, I got the target. Like, that's all you need. And a lot of these shots are done off of shooting sticks. So it's not, you don't have all the support in the world, but man, just enough to make a good, accurate shot. And it was a phenomenal event. Gun Talk Hunt is brought to you by ATN, the future of optics. Hey, guess what? ATN goes mossy. That's right, mossy oak. The popular ATN X-Sight 4K Pro is available in mossy oak breakup, country, Elements Terra, and Bottomland. That's probably my favorite, honestly. The X-Sight 4K Pro offers features you can trust to make your hunt successful with features like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, extended battery life, one-shot zero, a favorite, 1080p full HD video record, and Ultra HD sensor. That's got you covered. For all your hunting excitement, you're going to record it. You're going to get to relive those moments. But the future of optics is already here with ATN. Find your next optic at atncorp.com. I can't remember Abner's partner's name, but I remember talking to him, and he actually cast his own pellets.
Yes.
And I want to say, I can't remember what the weight grain we were using, but I mean, he was basically casting them because he wanted to make them bigger and heavier.
Right.
And just have even more power, even more hitting power to knock them out of trees and that kind of thing.
And I think that's one thing. It's the knockdown power. So a lot of folks know they're the 17 caliber, but you really got to step it up and go into that 22 to the 25 caliber because, like Ryan said, that you could hit them a little bit off of that spot, and they just aren't. They're not going to fall.
Well, and also the extra weight is going to help with that pellet flying through the air. Yes, actually, wind can affect a pellet when you're talking about shooting it 30, 40, 50 yards. So, and especially if you're having to be precise when it's the size of a quarter or a dime right behind their eye. So that's another factor as well.
Yeah, and it is actually. So when you walk up to one of these trees, really what you're looking for are the tails. That's the telltale sign. Get it? See what I did there?
Yeah, tails. Because the tail is usually hanging off the branch.
It's hanging off and it's striped. So that's what you get. So just like in the deer woods, you'd sit there and you'd look for, like the horizontal lines, not the vertical lines. And it's kind of the same with these iguana. But, it's Puerto Rico is a fascinating place. Getting there and settling in, and Abner coming and picking us up. And that was the easiest thing, was actually getting the guns to there, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I was shocked.
You were going to Puerto Rico. You're going to this island in the Caribbean, and I mean, they are a territory of the U.S., but you're trying to go, well, what's involved in this? Well, they said, no, it's no big deal to bring. Now, the gun laws in Puerto Rico are different, just kind of like we have it various state to state. The gun laws are different in Puerto Rico, but air guns was not a big deal. We brought it in. I don't think it wasn't like you don't have to clear customs or anything. You just go in there and you go, you just pick up your case and
you pick up your case and
you
you're
roll.
done.
It was kind of like, wow, okay.
So if you're, if you do put this on your list, and it's actually relatively pretty cheap.
Yeah, it's not
like you're doing a guided. It's not like you're doing a guided, elk hunt in Colorado and you're spending $5,000 to $7,000. You're spending. It's a flight to Miami, and then Miami to Puerto Rico. San Juan.
Yeah. By the way, Puerto Rico is cool. If you haven't been, the old San Juan is old. Old
Oh
San
my
Juan
gosh, yeah.
is 100 or more years older than like the Pilgrims landing at Plymouth Rock. It is. And it's like
It is.
1550 or something like that. So, I mean, it's like, this is cool.
Yeah.
And walking around there and seeing the fort, and it being that we're down here just out close to New Orleans, it has a little bit of that flavor of Old San Juan, of the French Quarter and that kind of thing. And there are pina coladas.
Pina coladas.
KJ.
I tried every single one of them. Actually, I drank every single pina colada on the island.
He was just doing God's work. He was trying to figure out who makes the best pina colada.
Come on. You don't go to the place where it supposedly originated and not order 3.
Just go visit KJ's new website, pinacoladaman.com. Oh my gosh.
There's nothing wrong
I've never
with
seen
that.
a grown man eat and drink so much whipped cream,
I gained
2 days.
12 pounds on that one trip, and we were there 3 days.
We basically drank a half gallon of heavy whipping cream in 2 days.
Every drop was delicious. Don't lie. And you enjoyed it too.
Sugar and cream and rum.
Those are like, that's
yummy.
like the ingredients of a good time right there. It's the ingredients of a iguana hunt, I guess. But no, going around the island, so you'll go to all of these places and all these old places, and there's an old courtyard, an old lookout.
Oh gosh.
And I've never, we're talking about me, and I jumped a lot on this one, but I didn't know Ryan was scared of a pigeon or 1,000 pigeons.
Well, it's one of those things. I'm not scared of one pigeon, but 1,000 pigeons trying to land on you? No, I'm out.
You got to go watch the video. The video is amazing because our camera operators are sitting there, and they're sitting there with the cameras, and pigeons are landing on them, and they're just trying to stay with it.
So it was one of these, I guess maybe it's a famous courtyard in Old San Juan where everyone's feeding the pigeons, and there's people selling bird seed, and I mean, literally thousands of pigeons. And so they were not scared of humans. In fact, they were really fond of humans.
They loved us.
Yeah.
I mean,
I got a little bit weirded out by all of that.
It is odd.
The sky rats trying to get at us.
What I should have done is I should have said, "Here, hold this peanut butter real quick," and then get a thing of birdseed and just throw it at you. Ryan was never seen again.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty intense there. The most intense part of the trip.
It was the most, I don't know, the pina coladas were pretty intense.
Well, so one day talking about the island, we landed in San Juan. We were staying, I can't remember the name of the place we were staying, but we would go basically up and over the mountains to the south side of the island for a lot of the hunting that we did. We ended up actually on an avocado farm one afternoon,
which I thought was really strange, but and we ended up re-sighting our guns in and verifying 0 in the farmer's front yard, which was super weird.
Yeah.
And like cars are driving by, and so you kind of go back on this avocado farm. And what was really cool was we were filming, and you'd see the ground start moving, and it was all these baby iguanas.
Yes.
Remember that?
They're like, 3 or 4 inches long.
They weren't big at all, and you could catch them. And so we were catching them, and taking photos with them, and that was really cool. But it goes to show like how quickly they reproduce and how quickly they're becoming more and more of a problem.
So now the thing that people are asking right now,
I know where you're going with this, and I know we'll probably get blasted, but I can tell the story that we had the best intentions. Yes, they do eat them.
Yes, they do eat them. But I didn't get to eat one, but we have a story about this.
Yes, we
were in the middle of filming. So it was like, basically we hunted for 2 days. So we hunted, we had to go back, we had to wrap up filming, we had to drop cards, memory cards, and do all the stuff you have to do when you're doing a TV show. And so we didn't have time to like
sit around
and I think Abner, maybe he had somewhere to be. I can't remember. And then the second day,
he had to be at work.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because
this isn't his full-time job.
Full-time gig.
So then the second day we hunted, And he's like, man, you guys have to eat some. I was like, we want to, but we have to drive all the way back across the island to San Juan because we're catching a flight in the morning. So Abner's like, hey, I'll bring you iguana. He called us like after we were at the hotel. Do you remember this? What happened?
Oh, yeah.
He's such a nice guy. He brought us the skinned, cleaned iguana to our, I don't know, was a Holiday Inn Express or something.
That's what it was.
In a styrofoam ice chest filled with ice. And I'm like, what are we going to do with this?
I don't know what we're going to do. Like, that's what we were thinking. We were like, we have all this camera gear and everything. And I thought he was just going to bring us like a few like frozen packages.
It was a styrofoam ice chest.
A big one.
So we're like, well, we can't. There's no kitchen.
No way.
There's no kitchen in the hotel room.
No.
And there's no way they're going to let me carry a styrofoam ice chest full of ice and skinned iguanas onto this plane. I don't think that's going to go over well. So we went to the front desk people at the hotel. It was like,
we've got
this is a strange one, but do you guys have any interest in having some iguana meat? And they were like, oh, yes totally.
Yeah, they loved it.
Yeah.
Like,
they were pumped.
They were they did ask, is it already skinned?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that it's a little bit difficult to
clean them and stuff. Yeah. But that's reason enough, even though I would go back in a heartbeat because it was so much fun and really a pretty easy. I mean, it's easy. It feels like an international trip, an international hunting trip. I mean, it sort of is, and super easy. And like you said, it's not real pricey compared to a lot of hunts that you do when you travel. But I got to go back because I got to eat iguana.
I've got one. No, here's what we have to do. We have to eat iguana, and we've got to bring back the iguanas because we wanted to get a couple of iguanas mounted. Because they are in all different colors. There are very dark ones. And our camera guy actually shot, and it was like orange.
There's orange ones. There's kind of a white cream.
Yes,
and there's a mix of colors.
Yeah,
they're pretty cool. I mean, to have a taxidermy done of an iguana would be
like
pretty
a
cool.
6 foot long. Could you imagine that? It's when you're walking in, you know how so in our offices when people walk in, just have that sitting on the floor. Oh my gosh, best April Fools ever.
Can we get him? Can we get him mounted where he's like holding a pistol or something?
We could have him laying prone on a rifle.
Yes.
6 foot long, and then you've got this long gun. Oh my gosh, that would be awesome. Yeah. That would be fun.
And I hear that they're having some iguana issues in Florida as well.
They're starting to because it's the same problem.
It's the same problem.
Same issue.
Yeah.
So you can, I believe there are places to hunt there. I think there's some folks. I think that's a lot of neighborhoods though. I mean,
you knock on doors.
Yeah, knock on doors. Hey, I see you got like 18 iguanas in your orange tree.
Can I hunt your land? What do you mean? I live in a neighborhood, a subdivision here.
I mean, that's one way to ask permission. One other really funny thing that happened on that, and I needed a change of shorts, and you know where I'm going with it. Ryan had just shot this iguana, and it had fallen from the tree, and who went up to get it? Not Abner went up to get it, and he was holding it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'd like to get a picture with it."
Yeah.
Oh, famous last words. Famous last words. I sit there, and I'm like, "This brave hunter killed the iguana. Got to get a trophy shot with it." So I go over there, and I think he knew that son of a gun was alive when he handed it to me. And then it started moving.
Yeah, he started trying to crawl out of your hands.
And that is the first time he tried to claw my eyes out.
Holding a 5-foot lizard in my hand.
No. That's the first time God dang was ever recorded.
I think he said "gall dang," and I think he said something to the effect of, "Oh my God!"
Yeah. Yes, that was it. And I about threw that thing on Abner. You take it. Like, no.
Oh my God.
Yes, it was, dude. When it started moving, I was like, I did not want any part of that. You can blast me in the comments. I don't care. It was funny.
It was funny.
And we did get it on camera. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
So it made the show.
So we kept referring to this. So you can actually watch this. So
yes.
If you go on to guntalktv.com, or if you go onto our YouTube channel or Roku or any of those places, just look it up. It's Gun Talk Iguana Hunt. I think we called the episode Iguana Go to Puerto Rico.
I don't know what we called it. I don't think
Iguana Go to Puerto Rico.
I don't know if many people are searching that, but it's funny.
It's
good.
Horrible search engine optimization.
No,
name.
it's awful SEO, but it's a great title. But yeah, you can go on there, you can watch it. It kind of recaps everything that we've talked about, but a little bit more in graphic detail.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. But Ryan, thanks for hopping on Gun Talk Hunt. Always great to have you by.
Part of it is reliving our stories. That's what hunting is, man.
We've got to preserve it. And, when we're talking about all these hunts, they are fun. And it's a great way to get a lot of trigger time. If you're looking to take kids, this would be a really good one. They'd feel like they'd got an adventure, and they're hunting dinosaurs.
Yes.
I mean, they're hunting dinosaurs. These things are
pretty
massive.
Awesome. And there's no recoil. So, yeah, absolutely. A kid could go out there and do this.
I mean, no recoil.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be a pretty cheap hunt.
Yeah.
I think we need to take the kids on a trip.
Yeah.
I really do. That's awesome. All right, guys. That's it for this Gun Talk Hunt. Thanks for joining in. As always, keep those guns pointed in a safe direction. Always downrange. Be safe and get those kids out there hunting because they're the future.